welcome to Chapter 2 Club's Smart Woman's Guide to Breakups and Everything After. Today I'm here with Jackie Mazur, a certified financial planner and a certified divorce financial analyst, and we're going to be talking about questions to ask before getting a divorce as it pertains to finances. Hi, Jackie.
Perfect. Hi. Yeah, so for some women, of course, they're not going to be able to decide when they're getting a divorce.
Right.
Because if their husband files for divorce, there's not much they can do.
Yes.
But in a lot of cases, women are unhappy and they're making the decision to file for divorce.
Right.
And so there are some things to think about before starting that process.
Okay.
As a certified divorce financial analyst, I often work with clients who come to me and say, can I afford to get a divorce?
Right.
Or should I stick with it for a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure what things are going to look like on the other side.
Okay.
And so going through that exercise can be very empowering
Okay.
and can give you the information that you need to decide financially does it make sense.
Right.
And you shouldn't make your decision purely on financial. If you're in a bad situation or if you're unhappy, it may not matter, but it can still be very helpful to have that information so that you know what you're
Okay.
dealing with. So a couple of questions that you could talk to an attorney about, even if you haven't started the process, you can just consult with an attorney for an hour to figure out what might your child or spouse's support look like.
Okay.
Also important, if you're the main breadwinner, are you going to have to pay support? And
Right.
what does that look like?
Okay.
Because that can be, of course, it's going to affect your income
Yeah.
and your ability to support yourself
Right.
even afterwards. Another question might be to look at what are all of your assets and how much is your total estate?
Okay.
What is considered a marital asset? In California, where we are as a community property state, everything that was acquired during the marriage is going to be split right down the middle.
Okay.
So you can assume, at least for the initial planning, that about half of whatever that number is what you'll have after divorce.
Okay.
Now, a lot of things can happen during the process.
Right.
It may not happen that cleanly,
Yeah.
but it'll at least give you an idea
Okay.
of what you're looking at.
And every
afterwards.
state's different, has different rules.
There are different rules in different states, yes.
Okay.
So you'll definitely want to check with, depending on where you live,
Yeah.
whether you're community property or not, because
Okay.
those rules are going to be different.
Okay.
Another thing to think about is, of course, the kids, and in this case, around the finances. If there's large expenses around the kids, like preschool, like kindergarten, like after school programs, like
Right.
nannies, like daycare, do you think your spouse will cover all of that expense?
Right.
Or will you likely have to split it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're not going to know all those answers again, but this
Right.
is just an exercise you can take yourself through
Yeah.
to figure out what assets will you have, what income might you have, and based on that, where does that get you?
Okay.
Lastly, I would think that one of the other things would be how much would you need to earn now that you have this basic information?
Right.
If you are working currently, is the income that you're earning enough?
Okay.
Or do you need to try to maybe go back and get an advanced degree or get a new certification to try to raise your income?
Okay.
If you're not working, maybe developing a plan or a strategy around how to get yourself to that point,
Okay.
either before divorce or after.
Okay.
So it might make sense to stick with it for a year
Yeah.
while you get some extra education or while you start to work or while you start to save some money
Yeah.
so that you have that as a baseline
Right.
before the divorce even starts.
Yeah.
In other cases, it might make sense to wait,
Mm-hmm.
see how things go, and then
Right.
start to get a job after
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
If you have that luxury.
If you have that luxury,
Yes.
yes, and that can be difficult as well.
Yeah.
There is a stipulation that your spouse can put in place if you're not working currently called a Gavron warning, which is a legal
Okay.
term, so you should always check with your attorney about it.
Okay.
But basically it says that if you're not working right now, but you have worked in the past,
Mm-hmm.
that you have the ability to earn a certain amount of money.
Right.
And if you don't make an effort to earn it, they can stop support whether you've started or not.
What if you've been applying and you can't get a job?
Then you can show that you have been. And
Okay.
the courts are the ones who ultimately put the Gavron warning in place
Okay.
or implement that. But basically it's giving a warning saying
Yeah.
you need to at least try to get a job
Right.
so that they don't have to pay support forever.
Right.
So it's just something to be aware of, that even if you're not working currently, depending on how old you are, if you're in your more senior years,
Mm-hmm.
it may be less of a concern. But if
Okay.
you're young, if you're in your 40s, and your spouse is theoretically would be on the hook to pay you for their 25 years,
Right.
the chances of them wanting or to do that
Yeah.
is going to be pretty slim.
Absolutely.
And so they might try every chance they can
Right.
to stop paying.
Yeah.
So just know about some of these different terms or some of these different ideas,
Right.
and think about, within a reasonable timeline, how might you be able to support yourself if you're not doing that already?
Yeah. And I think it is important anyway, regardless of what you're legally entitled to kind of have that experience and, the knowledge and drive to actually want to support yourself financially.
Absolutely.
I think that's super important for women today,
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah. And in a lot of cases, at least here with my practice, I find that the women actually are the main breadwinners.
Great.
And when they're making this decision, they're looking at it from, how much will they have to pay in support?
Right.
Or what percentage of the assets that they feel that they've acquired are they going to have to give to their spouse?
Yeah.
To make the divorce final.
Right.
So whether you're on the receiving or the giving end,
Yeah.
it is super important to look at the big picture
Yeah.
just to figure out the timing of things.
Right.
Yeah. It might make sense to file sooner or it might make sense to file later, depending on what's happening.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Of
And you
course.
have a little worksheet that might be useful for some of our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll upload it to the site. It's
Perfect.
a budgeting worksheet to help you figure out maybe what your expenses are going to be after divorce or even now.
Okay.
So we'll make sure to upload that as a
Great.
resource. Yeah.
Check our website for that worksheet. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Of
And
course.
we'll see you guys next time.